Hi, and welcome to session 4 on the Music Makers. Today we're looking at the section running from page 42 to 51, which has some of the high drama and tricky notes of the piece. Michael starts playing at the start of the second line with a tune that most of you will recognise as Nimrod from the Enigma Variations. At the end of this page, altos, tenors, basses, all please breathe, a quaver as usual after broken. In the last bar of the top of 43, no breath in ATB at the comma, but then the three staccato notes are staccato as always, please. In the second bar at the bottom, all breathe at the comma after broken in the sops and spoken in the altos, tenors, basses. Then no breath at the comma in the third bar, but altos, tenors, basses all breathe after the comma in the last bar. Sorry, this is all very detailed. It would have been helpful if Elgar had been more precise, or as precise as we noted in the Bainton score. On page 44, more staccatos in the second bar for the men, and altos breathe after spoken, please. Then note the very quick dim in the third bar. This will feel unnatural as the soloist will be crescendoing at the same time. This is a very long phrase as there's no breath until the note after the pause at the bottom, so fill up well at the top of the page. And on spoken, after the pause, make sure the second note is a full crotchet, spoken. Then suddenly fortissimo, and don't worry about drowning the soloist here as she's on the same notes as the sop and she's not really supposed to be heard separately. She's really just finishing off her words there. In the last but one bar of 44, basses take a breath after flame, and then in the last bar, just the second basses take another one after the next flame. At the start of page 45, no breath for basses in this bar, but tenors breathe before wrought. Then all the men breathe after heart in the fourth bar, and everyone careful here that this is a slow dim. So sopranos and altos only down to MF by the time you stop, so that the tenors and basses can be finishing the diminuendo process. Men watch for the T in the new tempo at the foot of bar 45. The top of page 46, there is a sort of mystery number 2 in brackets where the time signature would be. I think this is Elgar saying you might want to go into 2 at this point, but I'm going to stay in 4. In fact, just slightly slower than the previous bit if you work it out from the tempo markings. Make sure the first syllable of today is strong, even a little accent, today, with strong T's and D's. Watch out for the rhythms on thrilling. So we've got today is thrilling. So thrilling. It won't come naturally to do that. At the top of page 47, remember the crescendo, and then altos and tenors make sure of the staccato on the last note of the line and again at the end of the page. On this and the staccato passages on page 48 and 49, leave the consonant until after the gap. So it'll be thrilling, li, stead, and si, stead. It's not quite how it's printed, but it'll sound much more exciting and actually be easier to do if we do it that way. From the top of page 49 in tenors and basses, the rising phrase is quite hard, a decorated chromatic scale, in fact. Make sure you get the hang of these passages. They come again in next week's session as well. At the bottom of the page, men breathe after may, but not after pass or world. Then the tied note that starts at the end of the page should be a huge crescendo. Don't worry about drowning the soloist. She's an octave higher, so she will be heard. Then probably the most impassioned moment of the piece on the words, the dream that was scorned yesterday, where Elgar expresses his bitterness at the initial reception of the dream of Gerontius. Self-indulgent? Probably, but exciting music? Yes. Then for the first time we get the motto theme loudly. Watch out because there are a couple of super staccatos in this passage, so the first syllable of makers and the word and are both cut short to a crotchet. And the K of makers comes before the gap. So it sounds like this. Oh, keyboard not switched on, give me a moment. So, we are the music makers, and we, not sure the right notes, but the right gappage at any rate. Then figure 61 is where we finish for now. The following section is really the continuation of the section we've just been doing, but as it's quite heavy duty singing, we've separated them off into 2 bits. See you next week.